Before installation, check the Noraplan floorings for color and batch uniformity and allow to acclimatize. Unrolling the sheets. When they leave the factory, Noraplan floorings exhibit a machine-cut edge and a shallowing out one, which can be recognized by its lesser thickness and the absence of a pattern. First, pre-cut the sheets roughly to length. Then, unroll the pre-cut sheets. Note that the first sheet must always be laid out with its cut edge facing the wall. Check the arrows on the back. Then, unroll the next sheet, making sure that the cut edge is placed above the shallowing out one. The sheet lying on top must overlap the one at the bottom by 3 centimeters. After you have unrolled the sheets, you must cut them along the walls and in the corners. For pipe apertures, too, the sheets have to be cut out accurately. Seam cutting with the Nora seam cutter. Use 2 small pieces of flooring to adjust the blade in such a way that the flooring lying on top is cut through completely, but the one at the bottom only by 2/3. Then position the straight edge 1 centimeter away from the pre-cut edge and move the seam cutter along the straight edge, pressing it gently down. In this way, you straighten the factory cut edge while at the same time cutting into the sheet at the bottom. You must use a Stanley knife with a straight or concave blade to cut the seam directly at the wall, and also at the opposite end of the seam. With single-layer floorings, the half-cut strip is removed by inserting a screwdriver. This produces a seam slightly open towards the bottom, which reliably prevents the formation of a tenting seam. Another way of removing the half-cut strip is by simply pulling it off downwards. Seams cut in this way will no longer be visible when fixing is performed with professional expertise. With 2-layer floor coverings like Noraplan elastic, the half-cut strip of the bottom sheet is removed with the hook blade. After that, the cut-to-size sheets are folded back by half. The surface on which you want to fix the flooring is once again given a meticulous vacuum cleaning. In the area where the folded back sheets are lying, mark the surface with a string line or affix an adhesive tape so as to avoid any adhesive overlaps which may later be visible. Fixing with dispersion adhesive. Noraplan floorings are fixed in place with a dispersion adhesive suitable for this purpose. Apply the adhesive with an A2 serrated blade, being very careful to avoid clusters of adhesive. Dispose of any excessive adhesive separately in an empty adhesive container. Worn serrated blades must be replaced in good time. Since the airing time required depends on the room temperature, the humidity, and the absorbency of the subfloor concerned, a generally valid time for airing cannot be given. The adhesive peaks must still have a soft core, so that when checking by means of the touch test, the adhesive is still tacky, but does not smear. Once the correct airing time has elapsed, lay the individual sheets onto the adhesive, avoiding tension. They must never be pressed or buckled. Rub the sheets into place with a roller, both along and across the sheets, so as to achieve optimum cross-linkage. Freshly fixed sheets must be protected against direct sunlight for a period of 48 hours. Conductive Noraplan floorings. In rooms up to 40 square meters in size, a copper tape lug of 1.5 meters must be led to a predefined equipotential bonding feature, which must be expertly connected by a qualified electrician. In rooms bigger than 40 square meters, the number of connections must be correspondingly higher. You must not use any conductive primers. The floorings are mostly fixed with a light or dark-colored conductive adhesive. You must use the serrated blades as specified by the manufacturers so as to prevent the fibers which ensure conductivity being combed out when the adhesive is applied. After you have applied the adhesive, embed the floorings into the semi-wet adhesive. Hot joint sealing. Thanks to their high dimensional stability, the joints of Noraplan floorings need not be hot sealed, provided they have been expertly fixed. Exceptions to this rule are those areas posing stringent hygienic requirements, if joint sealing is specified for them. Or Noraplan elastic floorings, whose joints have to be sealed due to this floor covering's high resilience. The joints of the flooring may be sealed 24 hours after fixing at the earliest. Cut open the seams by 3.5 millimeters with a special joint cutter, or mill them open with a milling machine. Directly at the wall, use the joint cutter again. Seal the joints with a hand-operated hot welding gun onto which you have plugged a fast welding nozzle. You can also use a welding machine with a Teflon roller. This machine seals the joints at a speed of 4 to 6 running meters per minute. At the working temperature required of 350 to 400 degrees, the hot welding rod will protrude on the left and right of the joint's edges. The last bits of the joints adjoining the wall must be sealed with a hand-operated hot welding gun. Cut off the protruding hot welding rod immediately in a first cut, using a sharp saddler's knife and a cutting guide. After the hot welding rod has cooled down, you can then make the second cut. Melt away minor protrusions with a blunt spatula, which is heated by a hand-operated hot welding gun.